Well, welcome back to Weekend Today in Central New York. I'm Matt Mulcahy with Megan Coleman, Lisa Spitz, and Wayne Mahar, and the rest of our crew is over here. You're going to see everybody.
Good morning, Laura.
Good morning. We just surprised Laura. She had no idea we were all just coming in here and shuffling around.
This is the most people who have been in the studio for a Weekend Today in Central New York. I think half our staff is
Laura,
here.
we were so glad to wake up early for you.
Oh, my gosh.
It really is our pleasure.
Job,
nice job,
guys.
by the way, on the first part of the news today. As usual, Laura coming through and letting the world know what was going on. Apple Festival and Eric Dungy and everything that's going on this
murder
morning.
arrests and things like
a
that.
couple of light notes like murder arrests, and I feel like we should toss to Wayne for first weather here, Wayne.
A couple of showers, but Sydney's got it covered today.
She does.
She does.
But how's this week been for you?
It's been crazy. We announced my retirement at the State Fair.
Yeah.
And it has been quite I'm calling it the retirement run, because it has just been gone. It's unbelievable how much, it's mostly unbelievable how you, all of our viewers, have come up and said thank you, and I had no idea that so many people cared so much.
Well,
really.
and the list is very long. And even Congressman John Katko was here earlier in the week, and all of our staff was in our front lobby, which is right through that brick wall upstairs. What a nice presentation that was. And this was read into the congressional record,
I
too,
could not
Laura.
believe I'm now official in the congressional record now.
How cool is that? That doesn't happen to many people.
I know.
And
in a good way.
Yeah.
Right, and then not that's right. And not just a congressional record, but you are also the recipient of a proclamation, a joint city-county school district proclamation, which is unique in itself.
It is, and they named a day after me. And it was really close to my heart, because it was a reading. We did book breaks here at CNY Central
for a long time.
30 years, getting children to read. Our colleagues in other Syracuse media came, so it was a joint effort that was put on at King's School here in Syracuse, and it was wonderful to see everybody sitting down at a table reading. I mean, adults who normally don't. Wayne did, Megan, you did, our colleagues from other stations and Spectrum did.
Yes.
It was just very special to see the kids get enthused because people were reading to them.
You mentioned the kids, and I know you guys will agree with this. It's not just about the kids, though. When we have been asked to go to read in a school, you go thinking it's about the kids, and you leave like with this feeling inside, like, oh, that was awesome.
And that's, Laura, what you said so much during our interview, our last interview that we did together this week. You talked so much about paying it forward, and how you really want the community to heed this charge from you, to get out there, read to kids, and get involved in their community.
And it really is a two-way street.
It really is, and we always say that volunteers get more out of the volunteering effort than the people that they are helping, and that is so true. Wayne, when you talk about animals, it's the same thing. You really do get a lot, seeing the good that gets done, and that makes the whole community rise. It really does.
One thing that happened this week, I'm surprised there weren't more accidents on 690. Because, you're driving down the highway, you're going about your day, and all of a sudden there's a giant Laura hand on a billboard. Although, there's no name, there's no TV station, it's just you.
Yeah.
And thanks.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I am so humbled. Park Outdoor Advertising did that. It was a surprise to everyone here.
Yeah.
And I've gotten several emails and Facebook notes that I'm just going to take a drive down 690 and take a look. So I'm sure the traffic went up at least a little bit.
It's so touching, and it's so well deserved.
Thank you.
It really is, and it does typify what anybody in the community has been saying. Thanks to you, Lisa and Megan. You're here in the roles you're in, and we have a room filled with probably 60% women, I would say, maybe 65%. Eventually, there'll be no guys left in this business. But Laura, when you came here, Laura, how many of you were in the building?
Me.
Just you. Zero until you walked in the door.
Yeah, I was the first woman in the newsroom for NBC3.
And what's that say to the two of you?
That's remarkable. I mean, listen, Lisa and I started 16 years ago within a month of each other, and neither one of us even thought what our gender meant to being here. We just came to do a job. And that's what, Laura, you told me.
And that's what I did,
You
too.
just came to do a job, and it was undaunting to you. You were not intimidated at all to walk into a newsroom filled with men. You knew you wanted to be a journalist. You wanted to tell good stories and impact the community. And you were going to do it, whether you were a woman or a man.
Well, unlike you, I went through the period when I was in college looking for summer jobs and so on. I got told so many times, we don't hire women. And I heard it a lot, and they were more than just saying the words. There were teeth behind those words.
Well, we're here because of you today, and you also have had an effect on everybody, not just women, but you've been a great example for all of us, women and men in this newsroom.
Well, I think it's important for all of us, even in this business, to pay it forward. We are really public servants here. We really are, and it's important that we give back to the community and make sure that it's okay. And that often means, when we have new employees, we have to bring them in and make them part of the family.
Yeah. Laura, in the true spirit of Weekend Today in Central New York, we have no teasers written.
Okay.
That's an insider thing. But coming up, we're going to hear from some of the people whose lives and broadcasting careers you've affected over many, many years when we come back as the Goodbye to Laura Hand continues right here on NBC3. Weekend Today in Central New York being retitled the Laura Hand Retirement/Goodbye, although we'll see you soon show. It doesn't fit in the new graphics.
You can't go too far, Laura. You can't go too far.
Yeah, but Laura, you already know this. You've heard from people all week long, but we wanted to share with our viewers some of the goodbyes that have come in from some pretty big places across the country. So let's start. I think Jeff Glore is up first.
Hey, Laura, it's Jeff Glore, sitting here, by the way, in Brian Applegate's office. He's right there. Tony DePolvere's office is right next door. He's hiding, though, which should give you some indication of all the people that you've worked with and inspired and led with your example over the years, both before we worked at WSTM, while we were, and after. I know the next generation is not going to get to see your example in the newsroom, but please know the impact that you've had for all of us and for so many. Hope you get to spend more time with your family. I hope you have a wonderful retirement. Congratulations, Laura. We are so happy for you.
And Jeff was one of our best interns.
Yes.
and then, of course, was a reporter and an anchor, too.
Yes. And it just goes to show that, we're here in Syracuse, New York, but our
tentacles go out far. Yeah.
It's a broad reach.
Absolutely.
And certainly at the top of the list of most famous and proud Central New Yorkers from the past, Al Roker.
Laura Hand, I can't believe you're retiring. You're getting out. You're going to relax. You're going to take it easy. Why aren't I that smart? I know there are people here who wish I would, but I wish you all the best in your retirement. You're the best and will always be the best, Laura. Mwah!
Laura Hand, happy retirement from all of us at Today. You deserve to relax, and we wish you the best on your next chapter.
Oh, my God.
There you go, Al. And Hoda throwing in.
How nice is that?
You got an Al Roker story for us?
I do. Al Roker is a local product, too. He graduated from SUNY Oswego. And while he was there, he used to commute down here to Syracuse on weekends to do weather for WTVH. I was sent to New York City after he became part of the Today Show to cover a media preview of the fall shows. We used to we'd go room to room to room and meet all the talent before we had satellites, so it was a while ago. And I said to the photographer who was with me, why don't we just go over and watch the Today Show tomorrow morning before we leave? So we go over, we watch Al do the weather in the plaza. He goes inside to 30 Rock, to the studios, goes through the big revolving door, goes around, comes back out and says to me, you're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be in Syracuse.
Oh, my goodness.
I couldn't believe after all those years that he remembered a face.
Well, Laura, that's the perfect transition into one of Al Roker's other favorites, which is formerly our own Molly Matat, who's here today. Molly, come on up, Molly.
Come on over.
Molly's also a SUNY Oswego graduate.
Molly,
Thank you.
Molly, what did Al affectionately call you?
Tater tot. And some of my students call me that now.
Yeah,
so it's the legacy
tater tot. But obviously, Molly, come around here.
Okay.
Here, come in the middle, because you got to be near Laura.
Oh, gosh. Practice with TV.
Molly.
How's the math teaching going?
It's good.
Yeah?
It's so good. I'm at Innovation Tech High School with OCM BOCES, and it's amazing. Our students just came.
Yeah.
And did a tour
She
with Laura.
stiffed us, but the
did.
students came for a tour. Yeah.
But Molly, you've talked so much about how Laura really had an impact on you, not only in
Huge.
your broadcasting career, but what your next chapter would be.
Laura came to me my first summer and said, book breaks, you got to do it. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And you're right, that rush that you feel afterwards, I was like, I don't want that to go away.
Yeah.
So I did more and more school visits, and then all of a sudden I
So
said,
I'm responsible for your leaving us? Is that the deal?
No. But really, I mean,
great.
Laura, not just even with book breaks, I mean, I think I speak for a lot of young people that work here. You believe in us when we don't believe in ourselves. So you really have a huge impact on everybody in this building. Oh God, I'm gonna cry. I come back for one
We
day
have
and I cry.
tissues.
Great.
Yeah, we got plenty of those still to come. Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you for
nice
everything.
seeing you.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
we'll do
Well,
lunch,
you know,
right?
while they're
Yes,
hugging,
lunch.
Okay.
let's. Michael Benny couldn't be here today, but we want to hear from him too. He certainly has appreciated Laura over these last 10 years, especially. Michael.
Laura is a coworker for sure, but she's also my neighbor. And I told her when she announced her retirement that the way I think she approaches the news is really a neighborly way. And she seemed struck by that, but that really is, if you look at her whole career, it's what she's built. She has done the news like she's your neighbor. I'm just so lucky that she's mine, so I'll keep seeing her after she leaves.
And that, of course, Michael Benny, recently of the 7 o'clock news here on NBC3
Yes.
and, of course, CBS 5, and really appreciate you in the Sedgwick neighborhood.
Well, you know,
Your gardening
we walk
tips.
dogs together, too, so, yes.
We're neighbors too.
And
Yeah.
Lisa also, yes.
Yeah, and this is kind of bothering Laura today, but she's not in charge of this newscast, but that's okay.
Where are we going now?
Yeah, right. We have a lot more, and a special surprise honor for you, too, Laura. So that's still to come. Stay with us. We'll be right back here on NBC3.
Fun.
Hey, next Saturday, let's all get together again.
We did the work early, so
You did.
we can all play
and
now.
that kind of
Yeah.
typifies your whole career, Laura.
Well.
You did the work, and then a lot of people took credit, and today you're getting the credit.
Well.
What's next for you? Everybody wants to know. I know you're not retiring in a conventional way.
But you did give us a couple of clues in that
Yeah.
interview earlier this week.
Yeah, it's the next chapter. I'm leaving broadcasting, really, but I'm always going to be community involved. As many of you know, I have a dog who is a therapy dog. I love children. You figure it out. How's that?
Children, dog,
Get the wheels
therapy.
turning.
Yeah. And more to come.
It almost sounds like you could come back to the newsroom with a therapy dog, right?
We could use you.
Anyway, in all seriousness, we have a really special honor, and Amy Collins, our general
General
manager, and
manager.
news director Sean Carroll are here to present you with something very special here today.
Well, we've obviously, your lasting mark here with our team and in this building really needs to be honored forever. And as a result, this studio that we are standing in will forever be named the Laura Hand Studio,
Oh, my
dedicated to October 12th. Thank you for everything.
So 10 years from now, people will say, who was Laura Hand? Which, by the way, is how I started here.
Is that
I
right?
was on election night in 1972. They said, you're going to interview. And the floor people said, who is Laura Hand?
There
Full
it is,
circle.
folks.
Life comes full circle.
Oh, nice.
Laura, that is really a lovely honor. And not only, people at home may not know this, but not only have you anchored thousands of newscasts and reported, but you also gave tours through this building, every inch of it.
She knows the
Yes.
history in and
With
out
some
better
great-
than
I'm
anyone.
some
leaving
great
notes
stories.
for people who are going to follow us, actually.
Right, including
Yeah.
the ghosts of Channel 3.
Yes, and there are ghosts.
Yes, which is what makes the tour particularly fascinating.
Laura, we
Yes.
knew we were going to get you with a couple of tears. That did it, didn't it?
Yeah, well, this did it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just incredible. Yeah.
While we have Nico and Wayne here, and I know Wayne's got a mic, Nico doesn't, but quickly, a couple of words, guys. We're running short on time because we want to let her say goodbye.
Well, I'm just going to say what we all know.
Yeah.
Reiterate this, that nobody cares about Central New York community more than Laura.
Aww.
In all the community service we all do.
You both come pretty close, though. Canine Carnival is a big event that you put on every year, and that is fabulous. And Nico, you work with Challenger Baseball, among other things. You do a lot with young people, which
it's all inspired by you and in honor of you going forward. It's because of that example you set for all of us.
Well, thank you for the thought, but it's in your heart too.
That's
it really
special.
is.
And Lisa and Megan, a couple of thoughts too. We have a little bit of time.
Well, we just want to thank you for everything that you've done for us, and you have been an amazing friend too. So people see you on TV and they see the great job you do on air, but what they don't see is how kind and how genuine you are off air. So we thank you for everything and for being such a wonderful friend and such a great role model. Really, there could not have been a better role model than you for everything in life.
Yeah. And Laura, there's so many people who come in and out of this building, producers and reporters, directors, photographers, anchors, and you have been that steady person, that people who come back to visit say, Laura Hand, she's the one that I remember. She's the one who's still here. And after all those years, you have mentored countless people in your career, and you have left an imprint on all of us. And for that, we are tremendously grateful. We look up to you in so many ways, and we will miss you tremendously. I mean, you have all of us in tears here. I saw Wayne choking back tears.
I'm starting to cry, too.
Let me just bring it back to a serious element of our business to get away from the crying, and we'll get back to crying. But we haven't mentioned the word journalism this morning.
Yes.
Yet. And that's been such a big part of what you brought to your job, the stories you have told, hard news stories, spot news stories, difficult things to share with our community. And I've seen over 30 years, you walk into the newsroom every day with 2 or 3 or 4. I know this is going on. We should be covering this. We should be following this in Oswego and Ithaca, or we had, for example, the Tully mudslide, which you and Brian Erb went and covered back in the early 90s.
Where they were rescuing people off of rooftops.
It's just spectacular, and you were there on the scene.
And the helicopter was literally in the trees.
And by the way, only a 3/4 of a mile from the Lafayette Apple Festival, which is going on as we speak. So stories like that you've brought to this community. And then the 174th Air Guard, you were really almost part of their unit.
Yes, this was a real rush. Well, we knew when I took this check ride that the Gulf War was coming.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was slated to go to the Gulf War.
Yeah.
And then the Pentagon decided I shouldn't, so I stayed here. And what we did instead, Matt, was for the community, we set up a military family support group, which is still a model for the Pentagon as they deploy troops all the time. So it was really, it was heartening to see that we could do some good here at home while they were on the line.
And
literally.
one more benchmark. We're now 11 years out from the economic recession as we knew it of 2008, 2009, and that's when we started the answer desk. The 411. It's had a few different names, but that was to help people who were having financial troubles, losing money in their 401ks, and look what that's become over the years.
And that will continue also. That is a way for you to turn to someone who, there's so many things that we do in everyday life that we really don't know where to go for help. So that's the point of the answer desk. We look at topics that are hopefully of interest to, not only interest, but of vital concern to people. And we offer people that they probably can't reach with one phone call or a letter. And they're right there on the phones for them.
Thank you for the journalism, for helping everybody. We want to give
pleasure.
you the floor for as long as you need to say your goodbye.
Okay. It's our last look, which is how we always close the show, and it is the last for me. I'll try to keep a straight face here. At the fair, we met the typewriter poet. You give her a word, and she'd make a poem on the spot. She just came in with a manual typewriter and wrote it up. My word was goodbye, and here's what she typed for me. Lovely things must finish, and chapters must be punctuated, as life lets us borrow beautiful moments. And we must pass through something called time. All that is wonderful must show itself to a place where remembering is its new form of living.
Boy, she said that well. And you read it well.
I have so many memories.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Central New York.
And all of you who want to say thank you to Laura, send your emails. We'll get them a Facebook post. I'm sure they've been on live all morning sharing that with you. They've been doing that since the fair.
Indeed. It's been, I've called it the retirement run.
And, let's make this day, put it in your book. Stop by at the fair next year, and we'll spend a half hour talking about how your year has been.
Okay.
How's that sound?
That sounds
sound
great.
Like a good deal? An hour. We'll do an hour.
Well,
an hour-long special. And the sales department just sold it.
What can I say?
One more tribute.
Troy Waffner gave me a lifetime pass, so you're on. No problem.
That could be the end of his interim executive director staff. That one last decision. But in all seriousness, Laura, thank you. We have a lot of people who want to give you hugs and wish you well. And thanks to everybody who supported Laura Hand and our station for the last 47 years. Thanks very much.
Yeah, Laura, we love you. Thank you.
We'll see you guys. We're going to sit here now.
So much.
Lots of hugging.
Thank you, Farm.
You're the person. You really are. Peter Hall, or Pete Sampras, as the case may be. And Vinny, who ended up working. Thank you for keeping us on air. Hi, thank you so much. Nice to see you.
We love you so much.
Mary Peter, you're going to be here tomorrow, right?
Good for you.
Thank you for making it fun.
Good night, son.
So cool.
And Amy, thank you. Thank you so much. Look at the morning crew.
Laura,
And Sydney. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Everybody here. Let me get to Sydney. Sydney, thank you